welcome everyone. We'll call the meeting to order. We have Pastor Ayers with us here tonight to lead us in prayer. And please, pause a moment. I'm going to give him some recognition after he's done with this prayer tonight before we start the pledge.
Let's pray. Lord, I thank you for tonight. I thank you for the men and women that serve our community. Lord, I pray that you continue to strengthen them, give them perseverance and wisdom as we move forward into our new year. Lord, we're going to give you all the praise and all the glory. We just thank you and we praise you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. So, Pastor Ayers, when I first became mayor, I asked you if you would come and start off my term with a prayer for our community and our employees. And you have continued to do that through my whole term. And I appreciate that very much. And I also appreciate Ron and Mike filling in when Pastor Ayers is not here. But thank you so much for coming and doing that. And here's just something as a token of my appreciation.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I consider it a privilege and an honor. Thank you.
We'll do the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
roll call.
Baker. Here. Bassett.
Here.
Beverly.
Here.
Barth.
Here.
Ridgway.
Present.
Jones.
Here.
You have in your packet the December 2nd regular council meeting minutes. Are there any additions or corrections?
Make a motion to approve them.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Jones.
Yes.
Ridgway.
Yes.
Beverly.
Yes.
Barth.
Yes.
Bassett.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes. You have the approved bills list in your packet. You had one in your packet and one on your table tonight. Are there any questions?
This thing keeps going down and down.
I have a couple questions, Mayor, if nobody else wants to jump in. Did not see that one. We've got the $3,376.88 to finish the wastewater treatment plant generator. And like 2 months ago, we had met with the superintendent, and
you got to go over the next page. That also includes some work on the water plant. The sewer plant, what they had to come back to do was like a gas cap or something. It was like $50 for the sewer end of it.
the rest of that is all for the water treatment plant's generator?
Yes, that and the Evapar bill. It just went haywire. I need a new control board, sensors, a couple solenoids. Cummins could work on the engine, but when they got into the electrical, I had to get Evapar.
Okay, $2,927 Fire EMS 2020 contract emergency reporting. Does that have a different name?
Like software is what it sounds like.
And it's for fire and EMS both, isn't it?
Yeah, it's our reporting system. Download into the system and it shoots it to Columbus. I don't know about the name.
I guess I couldn't remember doing that before. Do we do that every year?
Yeah, since we installed the computer.
This is only like the second time that
Didn't Bruce start?
It was Bruce, yeah.
So
When Bruce was
started that when he took over and upgraded the system, so for billing and that.
it's only like the second time.
So I don't. RG Zachridge, $14,000 for Defiance Avenue Bridge. What's going on there?
I brought pictures if anybody wanted to see them, the before pictures. Basically, it was falling apart. There's holes clear through it. You can see down into the creek. The ramp and the walkway is separated not that much. And so they came in, fixed the bottom. They put transition plates. He goes, those ramps are in good shape. He hated to tear them out for several thousand more dollars. So that's why the yellow. plates are.
Obviously, you
bigger.
used the same 3 beams though, huh?
Yeah, he didn't replace the beams,
Okay.
but if you want to look at the before pictures, I brought them.
I put that in 30 years ago. I built it.
There's no warranty on it?
A little bit. It just expired about 2 minutes ago. You should have spoke up. Okay, I'm good with that, I guess. The recycling trucks for the wastewater treatment plant, transmission pan oil.
That was for one of the dumps. And then that was also a various, that's where some of the cable salvage, that CMS. We used the same PO, he got us some sheet metal. And there might have been something else besides the pan and the oil. I mean, it's the big part.
But did they obviously put the new
No,
seals on it?
We did the work.
Oh, you
We
did?
just got the parts
Oh,
from
that's
them.
pretty high.
Is choice one about done with the industrial drive design work? You know?
They're gonna give me the stuff for the permits to install fairly soon. I should have brought all that stuff along tonight, but yeah, the contracts to do all that are getting close to being done. They'll carry over some into 2020. And the only thing with that, and they're not knowing who's on committees next year, we have sent in the PTI for the water tower. And already heard back on that, but I won't go into the details, I'll just get mad. It's getting worked through, but it was aggravating. We've sent in the PTI for the west high water line, so that'll be ready to go. As soon as they finish up some stuff with the, the choice one, those 3, we'll be sending those in, but I want to hold off on them until I get a better idea if you think it'll get done in the next 5 years. It's that 5-year window. But yeah, they're getting close to being done for those. And then that contract only takes through final design. If we were going to do it, say, in 2020, which we're not, we'd have to get a new contract with whoever to take it from there.
Through the construction phase.
To actually draw the prints on it and get it ready.
No, they've got all that stuff around, that's why
And
we,
it's going to become our possession if we don't hire them?
yeah, I mean, we'll have the PTI and all that.
Okay. Well, nobody else has anything. I move we pay the bills.
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Bassett?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Ridgway?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Baker? Yep. Barth?
Abstain.
The next thing on the agenda says representative from St. Michael's Catholic Church regarding the alley vacation. Mr. Slattery, I presume that's you.
That's me, thank you.
You want to go to the podium, please?
If I'm,
We want everybody to hear you.
Good
Out
evening.
there in TV land.
I was here maybe 3 months ago asking about the vacation of the alley that runs between the properties that we own on both sides of it at St. Michael's. We have no immediate plans, but we're thinking of a master plan, and that included closing off the alley. So we had Bachroth and Associates come out and do a survey. I have that survey sheet here, which actually has a signature spot for Mayor Collins, so if you could just done before the end of the year, it'd be great. And then this form that Kent gave him that is the signature of all the owners of all the adjoining parcels, which is us, and that was signed by Thomas Antonio, the general counsel for the bishop. So should I give that to
Troy will be
Give
there.
everything to Troy.
So, thank you. I think I've done what you guys, I think I did what you guys asked me to do to get this vacated, so it'd be great if we could get that finalized by the end of the year, and then, not that we're in a rush, but before, the transition, and I have to talk to different people. So I'm here to answer
Tell you,
any
but
questions.
probably won't be my signature on it.
Okay.
But that's easy enough to
That's
do.
easy fix for the surveyor
Yeah.
to make a change.
And their contact information is on our chart if you have any questions.
Well, Troy will have to bring legislation.
Right, you have to pass some legislation. Any other questions for Greg?
No, but the only thing I just wanted to remind Troy too, when you write up the legislation, that we get permanent access to that sewer line, so that they don't build a jungle gym on top of it.
Job, Kent.
Or something more permanent, a jungle gym you could move.
We're still, that lane will still be there to access that CCD building, but it's ready to get shut down.
There's just a stub there, right, on that sewer? It doesn't go through
Yeah,
there?
there's a manhole, we'll call it third of the way back, half of the way back.
Okay.
It goes out on the west side.
Well, if no one has any questions for Greg, I guess you'll just have to wait to hear back from us. Thank you.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Thank you, you too. We'll go on to boards and commissions. You have in your packet a report on the nuisance board. Things are moving along. Nice to see that house on Smith Street sold and is getting remodeled.
Yes, they really cleaned that up back there.
Yep, that'd be nice.
6 dumpsters so far.
Big dumpster.
Big dumpsters, the biggest ones, yeah.
And then we'll go on to the, well, are there any other boards and commissions that want to give a report that doesn't have anything written in the packet? Okay, we'll go on to the council committee reports. Police, fire, and EMS committee at a meeting December 5th. Anybody want to comment on the minutes for that? Or are there any other committees that want to report on anything? Okay. Going on to the administrator's report. Well, you do have in your packet minutes from November 9th HIX-TV meeting and December 14th HIX-TV minutes that are not on your agenda, but they were turned in late, so Cheryl put them in the packet tonight. I don't know if Mike Arthur has anything to report on either of the meetings or not.
Not really. I know they're always still looking for volunteers to help, if they want to help video or do some things, but the board, I know Bill's always trying to buy additional equipment to help digitize, if I say that right, but new technology that's big broadcasting on TV, so working with a couple of companies and moving that around, but hopefully people enjoy that station. We always encourage people, if they would like to see some other things happening on the station, please get with either Bill Murphy or anybody on the board or the mayor, and we can see if we can get that done and pass back on to Bill, so that's it.
Thank you.
Can't say on the November minutes, they were talking about the HD upgrade, and they were still waiting on a timeline last week, one day. They had, that ASG was on at the school installing all that software or hardware, so.
Great. Bill is at the school board meeting tonight, that's why he's not here. 2 week break. Going on to the administrator's report.
Yeah, I guess a few things to go over, and then Jesse will be here for, if I haven't explained it well enough. Leaf season was done December 6th. We've had a couple people upset with that, but be that as it may. We did 76 loads this year, and the guys spent all day Thursday and Friday hauling out of the lot, so the mess is cleaned up. It took quite a while to do. And the recycle lot, the new winter hours started. It's open Thursdays 1 to 6 and Saturdays 9 to 1. And then last year we closed it a couple days when we had that like 40 below wind chills or 12 inches of snow. So people ought to just maybe use some common sense. If we get a huge storm, that it maybe won't be open. I'm going to skip down to the statement of qualifications for the Defiance Avenue lift station. Those are due this Friday. I've heard from seven different companies so far. That'll bring everything people need to know for the Water Sewer Committee. People, what they'll need to know at the January 6th meeting when I know who's on the committee, who's not. And then we'll have to go over schedule on how you want to do that. Trash service for Christmas week is going to be Thursday the 26th. And that's also going to be recycle can week, so people should get them both out on that Thursday. Village offices are closed Christmas Eve Day and Christmas Day. Some people will be in working. I'll probably be in for just a little bit, but I'm hoping the weather cooperates a little better. I guess we're down to the water department end of things. The first one's the plant inspection. Jesse said things went well until the chlorine detector decided to act up while they were standing right there. But anyway, we've got a company lined up to come in to get that fixed. But I just wanted to let council know to avoid complaints later that we were hiding things where people were at risk, gonna die or whatever. It was just the chlorine detector. Chlorine was still getting in the system. It's gonna be a violation, so it'll be in big capital letters, but there's really nothing to it. Just gotta get the chlorine detector fixed. And then coincidentally, on the Monday after that, we had a small leak at the plant. And there again, I'm sure there's a lot of stories going around, but there wasn't any danger to the public. Chlorine was still getting put into the system. Nobody got hurt. And when the result of that's all the different emergency responders, I guess, and water plant people will be doing a practice event in January. And then the RCAP training, those 3 classes, I'll let you explain. So if you got any questions on what happened to either chlorine related or whatever, go ahead and ask Jesse.
Jesse, would you like to come to the podium and talk to us about what you need to say about RCAP and anything else that you want to add?
Yeah, no problem. Just expound on what Kent said there. When you get the evaluation letter from our inspection, it will say that there'll be a violation for the detector not working. It literally died while we were standing in front of it, the EPA rep and myself. But the part is already shipped. We're just waiting for it to get here. If that timeline works out to where the new one's installed before her letter goes out, the letter will also say it's already been rectified. There'll be another issue on that letter that a screen had been eaten away by critters. Again, it'll say it was a violation on that date, but that it's already been rectified because I've already sent her the photos saying that, or showing that that was changed. So just please read through the entire letter when you get it. Don't just read the bold, because some things happen, but they're taken care of right that day, or as quick as we can. But the RCAP training, I just attended, let's say a training, for lack of a better term, that was put together jointly with our Northwest Ohio EPA district and RCAP. They're working hand in hand on these asset management plans. So most of the water communities in Northwest Ohio were represented there. We're the only ones with our plan ready to go. So I want to thank all of you, first of all, because I was amazed sitting there that this by law was supposed to be in a year ago, which wasn't realistic, but we got right on it. I was the only one able to raise my hand in that entire meeting. The other community.
Thank you for your work.
What's that?
Thank you for your work.
It was a project, but it's done, and the community's better for it going forward. But nobody in there could even raise their hand that they'd started theirs, and ours is complete. So with that, they also brought up that all this funding we get from the state, and Kent's great about getting us a lot of funding from the state. Not 100% of it, but I'm going to say most of it does go through EPA channels for approval. So they're tying this asset management requirement into the funding requirements. So we're done with our plan. It's been approved, and that's good, but it doesn't stop there. So what I found out at this training is minimum 50% of our elected officials have to complete certain training each year. Without it, that automatically disqualifies funding, any funding that has to go through the EPA. So Kent has the flyer which spells out which 3 specifically. Now, they welcome you to do more, and I do as well, because it tells you what we need in operations from you guys sitting in here. But there are 3 very specific ones that minimum 50% of our elected officials have to complete. We have to have the certificates on file so that when we do apply for funding, we don't get automatically disqualified for that one stipulation. Let's see, utility management for local officials, financial management for local officials, and asset management awareness. Yeah, awareness for local officials. So don't all fight at once for who gets to be the 4 to take the classes, but keep in mind with the asset management requirements, water sewer committee, you already have to do a water utility, some sort of training for local officials every year, so this could be both for you if you're on the committee going forward. They're going to keep tying everything into this asset management plan. This is where we're at right now. I was told by the EPA, the Northwest District EPA Asset Management Director at that training, the wastewater asset management rule is in the voting process right now, so they will be coming real soon with the wastewater requirements for the same thing we just did. Just so you have that heads up. It's coming sooner than most of us thought. It was coming right behind the water.
If you thought water rate increase was bad, you might as well hold on. Sewer's got a lot more infrastructure cost than what the water does.
Is this the same thing that it was last year, where you had to take, I took it over the internet.
Right, and if you're on the water sewer committee, you're required to do one of those a year. For the funding automatic disqualifier, it's these 3 specific classes, and they're being offered as webinars.
But is this the first time for that? Because I thought I did that last year for this, same principle.
It depends which one you took. They've labeled these out sort of like college courses. It's level 101, level 201. I don't recall off the top of my head which one you already did. But if you're going to remain on the committee, you still got to do one each year anyways. To combine these 3 webinars will be 7 hours total. But as you know, when you did it before, it's online, you do it at your own pace. You don't have to do 7 hours in a row. One of these blocks is 3 hours. You don't even have to do that whole 3 hours at a time. It's just in the course of a year. And before our funding cycle, I guess I should make sure I throw that in there too. One of the first rounds of funding we apply for is March. So I do, that's sort of why we're bringing it here, I do want to really push it. If you've got a weekend, you got some time free, we need to show our 50% so we qualify for these funding cycles.
I guess this would be a good time to ask, does anybody know when they might know who's on what committee?
As soon as the new councilman takes my place, and then I've got it pretty well ready.
Okay. So
I'm going to wait until Wednesday, we'll know more.
Okay.
Well, we don't vote them in until the first of the year, so I've got a rough draft, yes.
But you very much need the committee and one other councilman to do these first 3.
Minimum.
Minimum.
Or mayor.
Or every.
I assume, since you said elected officials.
Right, and that's why I said 4 earlier, because it does include all of our elected officials. So that puts us at 4 as our 50%.
You're good.
You have to get high-speed internet.
You want
Anything
that to be
else?
done by March.
Well, ideally, because that's the first funding cycle we're going to try to attack.
February would be better. Yeah.
January.
Yeah, so you know where you're
Or
headed.
in December.
Well, I mean, it helps Kent because we don't really want to waste his time going through the whole application process if we know we're going to be automatically disqualified.
Exactly.
And we really can't afford to lose too many funding cycles. We really count on those.
Maybe we'll get more since we're the only one that,
Should move us right up the list based on what I saw the other day at that training. I mean, it's a daunting task, especially for communities larger than us with a lot more assets to account for and a lot more documentation. but just sitting in that room, and so many of these communities haven't even started. So I'm very grateful that, I mean, Kent and I sat down at countless hours doing all the initial, but when we brought it to you, there wasn't a lot of stonewalling, there wasn't a lot of pushback. So we're ahead of the curve, and I like being that person in the room where I can raise my hand and say, yep, Hicksville's good, we did our part.
Good. That's great.
All right, and
Questions?
as far as that, the other training, whoever ends up on the committee, if you go to RCAP's website, they have all kinds of free webinars. Some of them are as simple as, an hour at a time on the computer.
Well,
I've always got training posted at the water plant if you want ideas.
I guess being on a committee, you wouldn't have to be on the Water and Sewer Committee if you took these tests and you weren't on the committee, you're still counting.
It still
as
counts
one
for
of
the funding purposes, correct.
So it won't make any difference. We can still select.
Do you have to wait until 2020 to take the test, or take these classes? Or does calendar year matter?
12-month cycles, so no,
Okay.
it doesn't have to be a calendar year.
Okay.
And if you see something online, I mean, you have all of our emails, if you see something online that would be pertinent, they're all pertinent, I'm not saying that, but if you see something that would, meet up to their needs or regulations, you've emailed us before.
Last Friday, they would have probably got credit for that, wouldn't they?
Right, that one I went to, it was in Defiance, it was free. I sent out the emails I had, or emails to the addresses I had. And they actually said at the beginning, who here's an elected official? No one could raise their hand in there. We were all operators, administrators, and they really are gearing these asset management classes. I mean, they're offering them for free because they want elected officials to go. They want to pull in as many people as possible. They're trying to gear it to people sitting in your seats so you understand what we're up against with these new regulations.
What are these highlighted for?
Those are the three.
Definite ones, yeah.
I didn't realize he had them all at your tables. Those are the three.
Yeah, well, I figured they might as well.
You might as well, right?
Thanks, Ken.
But, Ron, you're right. They, for that list, that does not just have to be Water Sewer Committee. Just 50% of you all sitting right there.
On this
That one.
Okay.
I was just reminding whoever's Water Sewer Committee that I do need a training certificate once a year from each of you. This is
From any of the RCAP programs. That's how we did it last time.
any utility management. It doesn't have to be given by RCAP. I'm just saying that's a great resource. They're free. They're online.
Right, and that's how I found it was I went to RCAP and then it gave me a list to choose. And
Right. Right.
Hey, Kent, you got an extra one to get to Taylor?
I would say
I was gonna say I have one too, but, does anybody have any questions about the chlorine things before I sit down?
Kent, had it pretty much start off.
Okay, good deal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you all.
And the only other thing for me, you want to say about that situation, you want to do it or me? Or
I wasn't there because we were kind of...
Oh, no, I meant your utility into things, furnace, generator. I didn't know if you were going to bring that up or not. I mean, I will if you weren't, but I was didn't want to blind.
I was going to say, I just got that quote this morning that I forwarded you guys that.
Yeah.
That was for the generator.
Okay, well, I'll fill you in on what's going on. Your furnace just got delivered today, the hanging furnace.
Okay.
So Jimmy should be able to get started on that this week if we don't have a snowstorm. As far as I know, Phil Scheipel's still supposed to get with you in December to work out what's gone on with the evidence room heating and air. And then that brings us to the generator. And you might need to explain then what you're looking for, because I'm not exactly sure.
I don't have one.
The person that's buying out Ned Steel, it's a company called Coppersmith, I think his name's Tim Smith. They went out, and I'm assuming they talked and went through your building.
Yes.
And they worked up a quote for a gas, called permanent generator. with, everything that would be needed, other than the gas piping or hookup included, and that was $11,500. The committee back when you guys had talked said somewhere in the 1,000 to 3,000 range. So I'm assuming you don't want to go with the permanent gas.
Well, the way they talked before, all they needed was a portable generator just to run what they did use.
And that's fine, and that's where you'll have to tell me what you want run, so we know what size.
That's what I gave him
portable to get.
Was to run the lights, the garage, doors, the computers, and the heat.
I thought it was just, when we brought it up before, wasn't it just the computers and, I can't remember.
That's what you had before, wasn't it? Isn't that what was out there before?
You had one out there.
I never had one
Fish?
before.
Never had one.
Fisher had his out.
Yeah, Fish had his out there. Wasn't we going to go with the same thing Fish had?
But I don't know what that ran.
Yeah, so see, he quoted a 22 kilowatt generator.
Yeah, see, that's quite a bit different than the,
Yeah, we were thinking 6,500 kilowatts.
Well, that's where I have no idea what it takes to run
But I think
all your lights and computers.
I don't think he had been, or I think we met before or after.
I came in at the end of that meeting or whatever. But no, I guess I went on the Lowe's website. I mean, there's a 9,500 watt, which would be predictable.
What we talked about in the meeting was to run the lights, the garage door, the garage doors, and the computers.
9.5 kilowatt.
And
I mean, I don't know what it would
the only
take to
thing
run
that was
all that.
different with that one
You have to go do an amp draw on each one and see what they pull.
he asked about the heat during the winter time.
So how do you size them? Get an electrician in, because I don't know how you do an amp drawer. I've never had to buy a generator.
Got a clamp on amp.
Other than the permanent ones.
Clamp on amp meter.
I don't know if we do or not.
I got one you can borrow otherwise, or I can come down.
I mean, I'm not opposed to getting one. I just don't want to get an undersized, or I don't want to go
Or tripping all the time.
way too big either.
Now, the one that they priced, did that come with like an automatic switch and everything else? So if you lost power in the middle of the night, it automatically switched over, you didn't have to plug anything in?
Oh, yeah.
Transfer switch and all that? Yeah.
Yeah, because we talked about in the meeting to do manual.
and that's where the
Right.
cost comes in. when
Oh,
you
yeah, that transfer switch is a big part of it.
Because see, we didn't have that estimate, or that, we were expecting that quote before we had the meeting and didn't get it. So,
5,500 for 529, but I don't know what it runs.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't know about the heat and that before. We just thought it was just computers and some lights.
Although, would a Fish has done what you wanted to do?
see, I wasn't.
It did do it.
Yeah. That's,
Well, if I knew what size Fish had, maybe upsize it just a bit to be safe.
She
But
said it's like 5,500.
I found on Contractors Marketplace, I found like, and I've got them saved in my computer, 6 or 8 used ones that are, nothing's over $1,000, and it would run everything out there. If you wanted to look at used.
They said electrical is the big.
Can
Well,
you
see,
go back to
these-
the drawing board and,
Well, see, these will all be gasoline, so you'd have somebody out there having to watch your fuel. And
What about natural gas if you had a natural gas generator?
Well,
I don't know how those-
Typically, they have certain, you got to get a contract typically with those two and have them inspected twice a year. There's a fee associated with that,
well,
too.
the first company that we had come out, he never bothered to send us an estimate, and that's what he was looking at, was on the back side of the building, there was a natural gas line, sticking it right there,
Yeah.
because he said where the electrical and everything went in, but we never did get an estimate or a quote from him. And he didn't even respond back. I don't even think he responded back to Kent on the last.
Well, that's because he's getting bought out by the guy that did come out. So I didn't know any of that to go.
That was Owens as it came out.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about them.
Yeah, that was the one.
That
we
goes
never-
way back. Okay.
Yeah, we never did get an estimate, but that was his idea, was put it on the back side of the building right at the natural gas line.
And then because he said where the electrical went in, it would be easy to pipe it through and hook right into the natural gas line, but we never got an estimate or a quote back from him on what it would cost, and that's when Kent contacted Steel Ned to have him come out and look at it. And then Ned's actually selling to this gentleman, so he's the one that wrote up the quote. And when we had our meeting, we didn't have that quote. So,
Well, we didn't appropriate enough money for that.
Go for it, but still, I thought I'd run it past it since that's the quote you got.
yeah, that was, I didn't expect it, but anyways, to go with that quote anyways, not for 11,000.
So if you think of 5,500
Can you work on this some more?
watt
Yeah.
natural gas, probably still need the electrician to do stuff and then too.
Yeah, good stuff. The only difference is you'd have to have a manual switch to throw.
You see ours at the shop, we unplug one thing, plug the other one right in. We didn't have to do any rewiring.
There was supposed to be, I think, an estimate for the manual switch.
It wasn't included on this one that I saw, or that you'd sent me, but. Man, I mean, if you want to look at natural
I'll get
gas,
somebody else in there to check it out and see what kind of power and things that need to be ran and see if we can get a couple other quotes on it.
What did they charge for the generator?
They don't have it broke down like that.
Oh, they
no,
didn't?
he's got all his, the transfer switch, the battery, blah, 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 for 11.5.
I assume you'll speak to Fisher also to find out what size he had while you're doing all your investigative work.
Did you say in the last meeting that you have to maintain climate control in the evidence room?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what Phil Scheipel's supposed to.
So you've got, so in the instance of a power outage, you have to maintain heat, right?
Yes.
Oh, so that'll have to be tied to the generator too, whatever Phil.
Yeah, but they said it was a super small room, and they were only going to do the garages and that room, right?
For,
Generator.
no, the generator is to run the computers, the lights.
Pretty much the whole place.
Pretty much everything.
There's a whole building.
And the garage doors,
You're
because
gonna
we
need a big
went 4
generator.
hours without power, that was.
That 9,500 one
Anyway,
should do
get in our
79.1
buildings as far as
amps.
the garage door openers go, because we lost power.
This one?
Yeah.
I mean, I just printed a couple off just
That doesn't really
bring
sound like
along. I
emergency,
don't know.
does it?
You what?
Doesn't
Yeah,
really
if I
sound
do my
like
math right, that should be 79.1 amps for that one, and the one that they're proposing, 22 kW, should do 183 amps.
They built it.
Huge.
Yeah,
Okay,
200
we'll go
amp
on.
service.
yeah.
I get some more
You got
estimates.
60K though.
Okay, I'll try.
Keep working on it, Kat.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, good enough.
Anything else for your report?
It must be a Cadillac.
I'd have this January 6th for new committees to.
All righty. Thank you. Solicitors report?
I've got ordinance 2019-19, the third reading by caption only, an ordinance amending section 345.10 of the codified ordinances of the Village of Hicksville, Ohio regarding multi-use vehicles.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Roll call?
Baker?
Yes.
Barth?
Yes?
Jones?
Yes.
Ridgway?
Yep.
Beverly?
Yes.
Bassett?
Yes.
And with that change, I'm going to take the existing form. Julie from the police department sent me the inspection form, and there'll be a couple tweaks that we got to do to that, but I already started working on that before that meeting when we first started this process, so we should have that pretty quickly.
Anything else? Anybody have any questions for Troy or anything?
Yeah, we need the contract with Haynes Enterprises.
This should be on its way back to me, as I understand, but I will make a phone call tomorrow.
We'll go on to the department heads. Chief Denning, we'll start with you.
Since we discussed agenda,
We'll have a-
I guess the only thing I really got is to thank the fire department and the EMS for, they gave us a Christmas present. They got us 3 new AEDs
Aw,
that were
that's nice.
delivered to us last week. So,
Great.
other than that, that's
all I got.
Great.
Chief, how's your radios working? The one, we had trouble with, I haven't heard anything, I was just curious. I think I got the answer.
Never mind.
I did have a discussion with the 911 coordinator last Thursday or Friday, that they're looking at possibly putting maybe some type of antenna on top of our building out there to see if that might help. But it's still hit and miss.
Sounds like you're on top of it then.
So, but he said it wouldn't happen until after the first of the year. There's still, I don't know if the door switches for the repeater systems that's already built in or put in the cars. They're looking at the door switches and what it would cost to install something like that, so we're not mainly have to worry about hitting the button to turn them on and heat them moment or forgetting about doing it, and then flipping your portable radio to the repeater. So there's a lot of things that's got to be done. Should be able to just get in and out of a car or in and out of a building and not have to worry about flipping switches. But the receiving and the transmitting issue, we're still having issues.
Is this a countywide thing?
It is up on the west end. The west end is where we seem to have the problems.
Bruce, do you have any problems? You have the same radio, right?
No, I don't have any problem with mine, but I'm not running in dead areas normally. I mean, very seldom do I go to the same spot he has. So I haven't had any problem with them.
Like, for a perfect example, you and I, we're at the hospital last babysitting, and everything's coming across his radio, nothing's coming across mine. And we're standing right there beside each other almost. So.
You have all three of your cruisers back running?
Oh, yeah, we got, yes, they're all back now. So we got to pick that one up last Thursday, I think it was. And then it goes in hopefully either late tomorrow or Wednesday for the new tires. So, and then it'll be back on the street.
Do you think you need anybody from, like, incoming mayor, anybody to get involved to help you pressure Defiance to get our radio system improved here at this end?
I think right now they know they have some issues and they're working on it. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. I mean, I don't think they would tell me that they're not working on it, or tell me that they're looking at putting
election year.
But I've talked to the sheriff and the 911 director both, so when we had the breakfast or donuts with the cops, that's when I talked.
Yes, but they also said there was no problem.
Yeah, but afterwards I talked to him, so.
And then the following Monday, they're in my office saying they didn't know there was problems. But they were currently working on their radios that day, trying a different antenna on their cars.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Chief.
Fire EMS, Mr. Hart.
Yes, I do have something, a couple things. Back to Mark's defibrillators. We bought 8 of them at half the cost of what they normally would. So we saved, they were about $500 and some a piece. So we saved about $2,000 on those. Myself and Scott will have one in our vehicles, and the 2 then will go into 504 and one of the squats, 511 probably. Maybe. Also, going back to last Monday at the chlorine leak, We are trained to do what we did, okay? Of going in, masking up, and shutting down a valve. And that is all we are trained to do. We can't do, if it's major, we have to wait for
Hazmat.
hazmat to come this way. And it's minimum of 40 minutes on anything. And they're coming from Noble Township. So we're talking about trying to get 4 gentlemen from the fire department to be techs. And then they would be first responders up here. They could do everything that Noble's, and we would carry everything Noble has. So we're going to work on that end. Julie said we could work with 3, but she'd like to have 4 from the EMA. With that, what day was that, Jesse, that we had the meeting?
The meeting was Wednesday.
Wednesday. I had a communication, 911 center, Sheriff Engel, the mayor, myself, Chief Kramer, Assistant Chief Lempert. We had and Julie from the EMA. We had a discussion on what happened, what can be done further down the line, and that's where we came up with the 4 techs if we could. Sometime in January or February?
The end of January.
End of January, we're all going to tour the plant down there, and she's going to show us everything that goes on. So we're familiar again because we have a whole bunch of young kids on there now that probably don't even know what's back there. And with that, then we are going to have a roundtable discussion on possibilities of this and that, and then decide on how we can better prepare ourselves for this. And then later on this summer, we're going to have an actual drill down there again. I think the last drill was about 6 years ago, 7 years ago, down there, and we had a chlorine leak then. But just to let everybody know, we can handle small stuff. We just can't handle the big stuff. Any questions on it?
And if I understood correctly, the 4 techs that Hicksville trains will be hazmat responders.
Yes, if they get called out to a spill on the other side of Defiance, they don't have to go, but I mean, after you spend all that training on it, you would want to go to it. So they are on call 24/7 with Noble, that. But if it's up in this area, we can take our wagon, our trailer that we have, go to the scene, and they can do their thing. In the meantime, Noble's going to be called to come this direction.
Yeah, I think it's worth noting for council's benefit, the EMA director also said that the county would equip us for those guys to be trained here. So that's not on us.
On us. The only thing we have,
EMA would equip us for that, all the equipment they would need.
except for the air bottles and masks, that's ours.
Which you already have.
Which we already have. The suits, everything in the trailer we need, absorbent pads, whatever, dikings, they will pay for it. They'll foot the bill for it, which is pretty good, really.
Sounds like a win-win.
Yeah. And once again, everybody that was here at this meeting is going to be at the round table also. So I'm letting you know that there'll be a round table coming up for us. Okay.
Isn't there chlorine down at the sewer plant also? Do they inject chlorine? I thought they did.
No.
Did they used to?
The new plant's not set up.
Years back. Okay.
Yeah, years ago. The only thing we have, and it's not very much down there at the sewer plant either. I mean, at water treatment, yeah, it's 150 pounds.
150-pound cylinders.
And we got 10 of them.
Max. At any given,
At any good time, there's 10 of them sitting in there. So you'd have to have one big explosion as we talk for that to rupture, and then it's not going to be a lot. I mean, it'll be a lot, but not.
But considering our location and it's not residential, there's not a public concern.
On the railroad tracks.
Yeah, the railroad tracks.
The railroad tracks protect
You have some protection.
The only concern Jesse has is people walking the track. And that's, if they smell chlorine, I'm hoping they will hurry up and move on out of the way, So
All right, anybody have any questions for Bruce?
Yeah, any questions on that?
Just one thing is I think the police department will be involved in,
Yes.
because I
Yeah.
talked to Scott about that too, so.
Yeah, they were at an issue down at the
Yeah, but we'll be
hospital.
involved because just like I said, you've got young guys, we've got young guys.
Yeah.
So,
Training them.
Yeah, you'll be involved in the trainings, you just weren't in the debriefing because you weren't part of the incident.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, we had 89 families go for Christmas for Kids. And in those 89 families, there was 189 kids that we give out. And Tylene's not here tonight. She's on her way back from North Carolina. But I imagine she wants to thank the village and everybody who donated money, toys for this adventure.
Thank you to you guys for taking care of that.
Yeah. And she does most of it.
Big project.
The women's side does most of it, but we're there to help. So,
It's great.
thank you.
Thank you. I don't see anyone here from the park, so we'll go on to the fiscal officer's report.
You have your fund status, and then you have all the November reports, income tax, utilities, mayor's court, and revolving loans. If you have any questions.
It looks like income tax is up 2% compared to this time last year.
I see the general's creeping up a little bit. Just a little. Better than the other way.
That was mine.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Cheryl? Well, I am proud to introduce some guys here tonight that have longevity bonuses. And we're lucky to have you guys working with us. And Garrett France, would you please stand up? You've been with the Village of Hicksville for 5 years. Thank you. Bill Murphy was covering a school board meeting tonight, so he's not here, but he has 10 years in as a station director of HIX-TV. We have Zach Miller. Please stand up. You've been with us for 5 years. Thank you so much. And we do not have with us tonight a volunteer fireman, Caleb Savage. He's been with the Village of Hicksville Fire Department for 5 years. We've got Cody Royer. He has been a volunteer EMT for 5 years, and he's also been a volunteer fireman for 5 years. And please relay the message that we appreciate their years of service and hope that they have many more recognitions. So thank you.
Make a motion, Jared.
Can't?
I'll second that.
Did anybody, am I the only one that got this?
No.
Okay. I gave it to the current street light property.
Okay. We should have a meeting.
Of course, Ron.
Well, before that, I see something on the agenda that I do need to announce. A reminder, Wednesday, December 18th, there's a meeting here in the council room at 3 p.m., Wednesday, December 18th, 3 p.m., to interview the candidates who are interested for village council. That's on the agenda, but I don't know what you're talking about, Ron, so sorry to interrupt.
Pokemon results of the pavilion building,
Oh,
the
my.
repairs of it, and that's just crazy numbers.
Yeah. Well, I talked to him after I got it. And he goes, he knew people were going to throw a fit. He goes, they had used prevailing wage, and he wanted to make sure they covered everything. He goes, the price will be lower if you do some of it yourself and do some other stuff. But he wanted to give me the worst case, because that's what I asked him to do. Instead of sugarcoating it and saying, okay, 50,000 will get it done.
Best thing, what I'm looking at, the best thing anybody could do is the village takes their backhoe down there, pulls all the dirt and the building off, and starts over. Not the big dome, but everything is buried underneath that concrete, all the restrooms and everything. Trash it.
Well, I don't.
That's just an opinion.
We don't have a pavilion committee anymore, but I think next year maybe the street.
Streetlight property.
Yeah. So put it back.
Yeah, that's why, kind of why we got rid of the pavilion committee. There
Yeah.
wasn't anything being
Yeah,
done
but
with it.
that could be, yeah, but that's a priority after that.
Very curious.
Yeah, I wasn't
money on the
planning to head with anything in that.
No. What'd you say, Larry?
Made a motion to adjourn, and I second.
I think we ought to thank the mayor.
Absolutely.
For all
right. Thank you. Thank you.
36 years.
36.
36 years.
Wow, time.
And then Sheila, 4 years. So
It's been great.
Thank you,
we ought to
Dave.
give them a round.
Thank you.
You wanted to get out without that, didn't you? Now I make a motion to adjourn.
I second that.
Thank you, thank you.
I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and all your hard work.
Yep.
Is it over? Well, we're still alive. Still alive.
Roll call. Oh, go ahead.
Baker?
What if I celebrate?
Yes,
What, are you gonna hand out gifts?
Barth?
Yeah. Take a minute.
here, that's candy.
Jones?
Yes.
Bassett?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes, say yes, Ron, you sure?
Sure.
I'm glad you.
Pete said sure.
Did you hear me?
It is Christmas time.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's unanimous, they're on that.
See you Wednesday.
Sheila.
Hey, did you want an Xfinity pen to take home with you?
Diane, what's next? You want to tell the paper anything?
Nope.
Yeah, what's next in your life?
Don't know. No idea.
I get paid by the...
I will stick to the no comment.
Okay.
Go back to work.
Taking Kimberly to work.
Well,
I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Collins for council.
Yeah, right. No, that won't happen.
Been in charge of the,
She's several years ago. Hey, look at this.
Christmas nerds.
Watermelon, cherry, and punch.
I can't remember whatever happened. Yeah. Probably related to somebody.
you know how that goes. You know how that goes.
That's my biggest fear.
I just
Try to keep your nose clean.
Yeah.
Somebody's out there
didn't have
trying to trip you up.
it in me to pass that letter on.
Hey, Ron, put me on the golf committee.
I just don't
We could have that.
feel like going through another altercation.
I pretty well have the committees, I just,
Got that covered too.
it makes a difference who
What are you talking about, lawyers?
No.
that knew whoever we put on.
I talked to Ron real quick.
But I've got it pretty well done. I'm not gonna mess with it.
You can hang on there, we're not done with it.
I'm gonna stay on one short.
I feel that strongly about it. Okay,
It's at home.
because I think,
Committee too.
I think he said he was going to take vacation through the
I didn't know if he had sent it.
But I'm
I didn't, I just,
trying to get one person have the major chairmanship and then 2 or 3 committees. You know, sometimes the person's on 3 or 4 and the other person is trying to make it fair. Okay.
If you were to
I see this guy.
talk to people about their job and stuff, but.
I just really just couldn't stand the thought of an altercation, of just an altercation.
This will be the last time I get to hug the mayor.
I'll be around. Oh, you'll hug the mayor. Hug the mayor. Oh, well.
Merry Christmas to you folks. I'll probably see you prior to, but just in case.
Yeah, Merry Christmas too. Well, we have Wednesday to all get together and meet
That's
again.
next Wednesday, right?
In 2 days.
I should probably,
Currently, I'll
I'm
be
gonna
here.
go turn off the live camera.
Next Wednesday is Christmas.
My life's a little hectic
I
right
know,
now.
you throw have to do stuff and.
Kids be around.
Yep, take care. Prayers your life.
Yeah, immediate. Watching open presents.
Yeah, you can stop that. I probably
All righty. Well, if you need anything between now and then, I won't be here Wednesday. I had to email everybody. And the only thing I won't...
She got it off.
Yeah.
You sure? The red light's on, yeah.
That is true, we probably ought to sit down unless he's transported to prison.
That red light's on, that's...
It's a lot of apartments, there.